Hello, good afternoon to all. It's always a pleasure to welcome such an amazing audience at the beginning of the year. So first of all, Happy New Year to everyone, your family, co-workers, partners. A very interesting journey. I hope that we are opening this afternoon for 2026. First of all, we are going to speak English. On va parler en anglais. If you need headsets to have translation, si vous avez besoin de traduction, on va vous passer des écouteurs, voilà, pour la traduction de l'anglais vers le français. It's always a pleasure to open and to host this event, and it's well amazing to have all this entrepreneurial and innovative energy in this place, and I hope that we be able to build strong relationship on the coming month and during this year. We have also a quick reminder about safety. It's very important, within VINCI, it's one of our top managerial priorities. And I invite you to spot the closest exits. So you have a couple of them just behind the screen, upstairs, just the stair you enter with. So also take a quick minute to review the slide about safety. Quite important for us that this event will happen in a safety way. And if we need to evacuate the building, we'll have the chance to have a meeting point on the square, in the middle of the square. So it will be I hope that we don't have to evacuate the buildings, because we have an amazing afternoon. We have an amazing round tables, and thanks again for our key speakers to be here today. But without further ado, I will leave the scene to Pierre Anjolras, CEO of VINCI, for opening remarks. Thank you, and have a good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you, Julien. Hello, everyone. What a great attendance. I've never expected to have so many people. So, dear partners, dear colleagues, and dear project leaders, I'm very pleased to be here with you today at Leonard for this launch day. And I take the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you. Launch day is an important milestone, as it marks the starting point of several programs which share common ambitions, bringing together innovation, entrepreneurship, and collective expertise to support the emergence of new ideas, of new projects, and new sources of value creation for us at VINCI. You are coming with more than 40 solutions, 42, I've understood. Right, Julien? This is a fantastic number. And what matters now is moving from possible to real. The use case, the customer, the adoption, and scaling up. Because at VINCI, for those who know us, we are always bottom-up driven, including for innovation. Always starting from use cases, always starting from the field, always delivering practical and efficient solutions, very concrete. And the 3 steps to help your projects grow are always the same, and it's the same in all our projects: a real problem, a simple solution, and precise execution. And this is where Leonard plays a key role. First, Leonard is a bridge. It's a bridge that fosters co-construction and exchanges between project leaders, between business unit managers, between experts, between decision makers, between investors. And in creating a company, just as in scaling up a project, when you think about it, if there is one decisive factor, it is the right connection at the right time. Very concrete example. I met the leader just a few minutes ago. Last year, Anjolras signed a contract just a few days after launch day last year, following discussion with Omexom, which is a branch of VINCI Energy dealing with energy infrastructure. This year, we have enlarged the cycle of the public here in this room, so we are welcoming external guests, qualified guests. So for the project leaders, be open, connect, be curious with the people that you will meet today, but be curious with the people that you will have the opportunity to meet during the program, with your peers. I understand you have already started this morning, and I'm sure we will learn maybe a lot more from your peers than from us. So take this opportunity to connect and be curious. Actually, just after my words, the roundtable, we set the scene precisely with Kevin, why ecosystems matter and how they enable innovations to integrate into a complete value chain. This will be an opportunity to address this topic. So everything starts with connection. It starts today, and my best wish is make the most of it. The second thought I would like to share with you, project leaders, is that you are part of a story. Since 2017, Leonard is almost 10 years old. Not really, but soon. So it's already a long story. So since 2017, Leonard has supported 215 innovative initiatives, giving priority to environmental challenges, to the rise of AI, or to innovation in industry, among other things. And if I take the AI program alone, for example, over the last 6 years, it represents not less than 80 projects developed with our business lines at VINCI, 15 countries involved, 2 doctoral theses, 12 centers of excellence worldwide, and more than 250 people trained. So this is not a small thing, and it places you in a legacy. You inherit a story, you inherit a culture, you inherit entrepreneurial experience, you inherit a journey, and that legacy will in turn create a duty for you when you become the ones who pass it on to the future cohorts in a few months' time for next year. So to conclude, just very simply, what you bring to VINCI, to our VINCI people, to our VINCI teams is immensely valuable. You bring momentum, you bring energy, you bring stimulation, you bring boldness. This was the theme of my address to the VINCI managers last week. And you also bring us a form of high standards, and it's very healthy for us. So I wish you an excellent afternoon, and beyond that, a very happy and successful new year, and especially this year for the project leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for this introductory speech. I will welcome our panelists now on stage for our next panel. Hello, everyone. I'm Kevin Cardona. I'm managing the entrepreneurial innovation at Leonard, meaning the different programs that we will showcase today. Very happy to have you all here. Sorry for those who cannot sit. We have this issue, so please try to find a seat over there. We will talk about what this means, actually, all of you in the room, all of you coming from different perspectives, all sharing the entrepreneurial spirit, trying to create something, create business, create innovation with impact. What does it mean to organize that, to make sure that you guys are in the room and talk to the right people, do the right introduction at the right time to actually do business and do what you have to do. So we are very delighted to have, I would say, one of the best ecosystems in the world. Ecosystem can seem a kind of a theoretical world. We will try to, in 45 minutes, to explain how this is very pragmatic. This is very business-driven, and with three of the, I would say, the most prestigious ecosystem in the world. So, Rim, can you join me on stage? Aisling, please join me on stage also, and Elena, and if we can have your figure on the screen. I will sit over there. Let me present to you the panelists. So from left to right here, Elena Bou, your co-founder of InnoEnergy, executive board member of InnoEnergy and managing director of innovation. We'll come back on what InnoEnergy does. Aisling Carlston, your chief growth officer of Greentown Labs, one of the, if not the largest cleantech ecosystem in the world, based in the US, and Rim Baouendi, director of Alumni Innovation for Harvard Innovation Lab, incarnating here the link to academics and of course the prestigious ecosystem of Harvard. And we'll come back a bit more on what you guys actually do. So we want this discussion to be very, I would say, concrete and not theoretical on what does it mean to bring strength, entrepreneurship strengths together. Maybe we'll start with you, Rim, because you are the heart of again, one of the world's most prestigious academic innovation ecosystem. Can you tell us a bit more about your role, and how do you actually empower venture in that precise ecosystem?
Sure, thanks for having me first, and it's really nice to be here and see this dynamic. It's amazing, the energy. I got a chance to talk to several of the startups, wonderful place. I come from the Harvard Innovation Labs. So the Harvard Innovation Labs is the central or the main hub for innovation at Harvard University. It serves all 13 schools of Harvard, both student and alumni. And our ecosystem is made of 3 different labs. The first one is a student iLab that is basically a hub where any student of Harvard can come and discover innovation and learn about entrepreneurship, build, scale, etc. And we serve about 3,000 students every year in this lab in different capacities. The second one is the Alumni Launch Lab, which is focused on, founders who kind of already are, out in the world, they worked and they got a degree from Harvard, and they want to come back to scale their early stage startup. So we have an accelerator that is industry agnostic. That's kind of one way to engage as an alumni. And we also have a climate innovation program for both students and startups that are able to come back and scale their ventures. The third lab that we have is a life science lab called the Life Lab, and it's a specialized infrastructure where life science and biotech companies can develop their innovations. Usually it's in the healthcare and life sciences space or in the food sector, etc. And we have all kind of equipment and facilities to help them. So across the 3 labs, we empower startups by connecting them to ecosystems, because typically they come already from a very rigorous and strong background, whether it's academic or research, etc. And we try to help them kind of develop the business side of things. And to develop the business side of things is ecosystem like this that are important to connect with. Alumni being also a major component of that. As you can imagine, Harvard has hundreds of thousands of alumni all around the world. So we're able to kind of bring them back to either give back to the ecosystem and contribute either as a mentor or expert or investors in our demo days, etc. So we have that core component that is important. So if you think of it, what makes our ecosystem special beyond being at Harvard is like the idea of interdisciplinarity, the fact that we're multiple schools, where at the kitchen counter you might have a business school student talking to a design school student and they build something together. And also cross-generational, right? Between those who graduated, who are now students, who come back and continue to give. So that long-term kind of approach is very important to us. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we support our founders out of the iLab.
Thank you for this precision on how the highlight function. Basically, when we prepared this panel together, you quoted me and spotted that article from MIT around the works that kind of describe what makes an ecosystem works. And basically, we are very much aligned at Leonard with what we try to do at our level, of course. Kind of creating the place of confidence between those key stakeholders of creating value in our ecosystems, in our economies. And I believe what you guys actually do is at scale, trying to replicate that principle, placing the right people from and basically academics and I would say science-based innovation, try to bring and create the condition to go to the market as fast as possible and create the right conditions for that in terms of trust, in terms of relevancy and kind of acceleration. So Aisling, maybe how do we illustrate that principle of creating an ecosystem with Greentown Labs as a Chief Growth Officer? Can you explain a bit what's your job, what's your ecosystem, and what makes it so unique? And I have maybe one slide for you, but it's a very tiny one. So just
cool.
to illustrate,
I haven't seen this one.
what does all those logos mean, and how do you actually activate? It's not just a bunch of logos in a slide. Yeah. What does it mean in reality?
Oh, well, very happy to do so. And also just echoing Reem, you know, it's such a pleasure to be here. Very excited to be part of this ecosystem. So Greentown Labs, for those that don't know it, is the largest climate and energy incubator in the world. So I'm based in Boston. We have a site there, which is our original site, and then we have a second location in Houston that opened 5 years ago. And our mission is to scale and commercialize 10,000 climate and energy startups in the next decade. We cannot do that alone. I mean, ecosystem really underpins everything in terms of reaching that goal. So we have some logos here which helpfully illustrate some of the corporations that we work with, but really at the heart of Greentown Labs, the beating heart of Greentown, are the startups. We have incubated over 600 startups since we were founded across all manner of different industry verticals, tackling the toughest decarbonization challenges that you can think of, whether it's low carbon cement, green steel, more renewables companies than I could shake a stick at. They're all coming to Greentown to take advantage of the innovation infrastructure that we provide. So I think about that as the wet labs, the prototyping labs, the machine shops, electronics labs, the tools, the load-bearing floors, to the HVAC system, to the waste disposal that we take care of. These are all elements that add friction to a startup's journey and make it hard for them to focus on the tech and the path to commercialization. The second piece is really around how do we support them with the network? And we see ecosystem as a force multiplier. So you see these logos here. I mean, these are the folks that are going to be supporting our startups from once they go from prototype to demonstration to deployment in the field. And so how do we help the startups to get to know these corporations, to build the kinds of relationships that allow them to test, validate, de-risk their technologies, kick the tires on the commercial structure, and actually then have that relationship such that these are the corporates that are bringing them to market. Beyond the corporates, investors play a huge role. You know, whether it's the angels in our network through to the VCs and CVCs to the private equity funds. You know, how do we make sure that we're facilitating those relationships? Academic institutions are critical because, of course, they're a pipeline to our ecosystem, and they are knowledge libraries, of course. And then government. You know, government. Even if, you know, government doesn't always preach climate and clean tech, you know, they can play a huge role, of course, federal, state, municipal level, and not just within the US. We work with governments and corporations around the world. So that's a bit of a snapshot. I hope it helps.
It certainly helps, thank you. Of course, those logos are present all over the place, so you have kind of a critical mass to kind of address messages to governments, but we know how in the Northern America it can be complicated at the moment, but of course it's a worldwide issue, and that's why we are crossing an ocean there and focusing on one of the logos on that slide, which is INO, and which is, I would say, the European piece of the cake, trying to do at scale, again, energy transition. Elena, can you share a bit what you guys do?
Yes, well, first of all, thanks a lot for the invitation. It is great to have these big brand startups, but it is also great to see a big corporation, how integrated you are with them. So, fantastic work. What is this InnoEnergy? InnoEnergy is a private company. We were founded in the year 2010, and we were founded at a moment very linked to the European Commission. At the moment, they were very worried about something that was innovation. So they said, this is the paradox, the European paradox. Europe is very good at creating knowledge, but we are very bad at innovating. And so this is something that, with inspiration from, indeed, the Boston ecosystem, the European Commission started, what we can do here in Europe. And then the previous President Barroso started a program, say, okay, how we are going to do this in Europe when the knowledge is super distributed. It's not concentrated on a town, on a region, or whatever, but it is distributed all around the job. So we were making a study, research, 2 years, and then we found the solution, or at least for InnoEnergy, that it was, we are going to create a managed innovation ecosystem managed by a company. This is the first of a kind in terms of, even in the business schools, we are the first of a kind ecosystem managed by a company. And this is something that the idea was to create a company, identifying the different ecosystems that we have in Europe, and creating a company so that we could work in a different way. We have shareholders, so we are not a fund, we are a company with shareholders. And these shareholders are coming from the industry, from the research, from the academia, and from the financial world. And that is something that makes us unique, because it is not if it happens. No, we have to mobilize it because we are part of such a company. And then the other thing is that at that moment in the year 2010, if you remember, talking about energy transition was like, what? Because this is something that it became much more popular in the year 2015. So our objective, our goal is to push, to accelerate that energy transition. And we do it through identifying those innovators, mainly the ones that are in Europe, although we are also in the States, in Boston, and trying to make their business case bigger, sooner, safer. How we are doing it? So since then, since the year 2010, we have supported more than 500 companies. We have today a portfolio of close to 170 companies. We have been nominated the biggest and most active VC investor in energy in the world for the last 4 years. And we have been able to mobilize 34 billion of euros in these companies. How we do it? So we, of course, a company and a startup, all of you come to us, and what do you need? Money, of course. And then we are going to put a bit of money. But mainly, what we are going to do is to mobilize all our network and the 200 people that work in InnoEnergy full-time to provide you the added value services, so we de-risk your business case in terms of technology, in terms of manufacturing and industrialization, in terms of access to talent, in terms of access to funding, in terms of regulation and positioning within all the context that we have. So this is one part of what we do. And then in the year 2017, we started including or identifying that just supporting one startup is not enough. And then we started pushing the concept of strategic value change. This is something that it was, probably you have heard about the Northvolt case, very famous in batteries. So we were one of the first ones that we stepped into. We have lost a lot, okay? But we have learned a lot there. And then we realized that just with one company was not going to be enough. So we went to the commission, talking with the Vice President, Maros Sefcovic, and we said, we need in Europe a strategic value change concept if we want to take advantage of the market, which is going to be 250 billion per year since 2025. They did the work. They launched the European Battery Alliance. Europe, Energy got the mandate to lead the industrial implementation of that European Battery Alliance, like in a strategic value chain. And we have received other 2 mandates lately, which is the PV, the solar PV, and also the hydrogen. And the concept of the strategic value chain, which is different to a supply chain, means that somehow what we are trying to mobilize and to populate and to support from the materials to the recycling part. So it's not only the gigafactory that it is creating the battery packs. It is also that we need the active materials, that we need the raw materials, that we need the applications, and that we need the recycling afterwards. So that is a bit how we build our portfolios, having companies covering all those spaces and engaging with corporates and incumbents in order to make it happen.
Let me follow on with you on that one, because typically on your slide, the smallest figure is probably the most impressive, and is probably the resultant of all of the rest. The 3 value chain that you've created exactly to actually secure the market, and that's where we believe Energy is kind of a unique player in that field. It's not just investing in ventures or startups; it's creating the condition of a market to actually succeed. Can you maybe zoom on that one? Because behind the small figure of 3 value chains, for each value chain, it's around, you told me a bit later, yeah, 800 partners just for one value chain. It seems, hard to build. How do you actually build it, and how do you measure results? And the question, and the second part of our roundtable here is around the synergy with corporates, because it's one of the things that, of course, interests us a lot. What kind of benefits do you bring to the corporates that join the journey with you? What do they find in joining this kind of ecosystem, and how do you measure that benefit?
So when we are talking about the strategic value chains, here it goes very close to creating the market conditions. And this goes very close also to creating this kind of regulation. So one thing is to work very closely with the regulators that are in Brussels, and then trying to put a bit what it is the industry telling about their needs. For instance, the battery passport is something that we were working, because if we need and if we want these companies to succeed, they need to compete in the same positions that the Chinese factories or the Chinese batteries. So that is why there was a business reason. We are trying to put this kind of business reason on the table. And for that, we need this kind of regulation or the other. The other thing is that the example is that when we started with the EVA, with the European Battery Alliance, the key actors were the applications ones. Volkswagen, for instance. Volkswagen at that moment was when he took the position that they were going to go electric. And that is what it was going to secure, that the newcomers were going to have a market, because there were somebody who wanted to buy such batteries. So at the end, it is a question of trying to put together in an organic way all these pieces of the puzzle. For us, it's what we are trying to do also is to identify those actors that can be really provide such a value. And that is why the EVA, the European Battery Alliance, have 800 different members where we are trying to mobilize. The other type of the question is that when we go deeper, say how Energy is supporting and what provides to the corporates. And just I'm going to use, for instance, an example, because I think that this is the best way. Sometimes instead of investing in startups, what we do is to create our own company. When we see an opportunity and the incumbent doesn't want to take it, or the newcomer doesn't want to take it, then we say, okay, let's start Energy and we create the company. This is, for instance, the case that you have here, Gravity. Okay? Gravity is a case of green iron. And there we saw the opportunity to say, okay, 1 ton of iron produces 2 tons of CO2. So, I mean, in terms of decarbonization, if we are serious with that, if we contribute to this industry, this is going to be a tick on the box. And then we started in Energy creating this company, and we have a whole team that it is devoted to this, but very soon what we need and what it is super important is to create a cap table of strategics. That's, for instance, one of the companies that it is in the cap table is NG. And NG is a company that is there. First, this is one of our shareholders, but it is there because they are going to be customers of this company because they are going to use this green iron to make green steel and to have the wind turbines. And also because gravity needs 11.4 terabytes hour per year. So somehow they were also guaranteeing a kind of PPA. So that is the type of relationship that we try to understand. It is not only investing in a company, but it is also creating business conditions so the whole industry can move and can get a benefit. For the startup, it's super important because to have NG and other customers like Fortia, for instance, as a customer, means that we are increasing the bankability. And for the startups, you know what does it mean, okay? And then, if we are having also other corporates, for instance, Siemens, it is part also of this company in the cap table, they are de-risking the industrialization. So we try to create a group of big companies and corporates around these initiatives so that they can also contribute and receive and to have a win-to-win situation. And for the startup, is this perfect? Because we are de-risking the feedstock, the industrialization phase, and the customer base for the products.
So that's very unique in your model,
yes.
Being so widespread in the value chain. Aisling, in Greentown Labs, again, how do you actually activate the corporate logos that you have around you? How do you create the condition for success in the discussion you do between the startups that you accelerate and the corporates that are around Greentown Labs?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to jump in. We have a wide range of different corporates that we work with, and we tend to engage either with R&D, innovation, the CVC arm, sometimes with marketing, sometimes sustainability, sometimes a specific business unit. But they have very different needs, and sometimes they're quite siloed, and they're not talking to each other internally. The way we think about structuring our corporate and startup programs is we talk about the BDP, the breadth, the depth, and then the perspective. So the breadth piece is the partnership structure that allows corporates to choose their own adventure when they engage with Greentown. Maybe they want to get one month they want to learn about bio-based plastics. The next month they want to learn about direct air capture. The next month they want to learn about SAF. And so we are very nimble. We work with them to understand what their technology scope needs are, and we will help them to build a picture, understand the landscape, so they have the right knowledge to action.
Typically, I saw a partnership you are building with Amazon on the CO2 challenge. Can you come back a bit on this?
Well,
one?
you're teeing me up perfectly for my next point. So on the depth point, so we run very high touch 12-month accelerator programs where we support a corporation around a specific need that they have. So with Amazon, that is a program that allows us to go deep into decarbonized building materials, and specifically they're really interested in cement. We map that market, we get to know all of the major players, we invite the startups to apply to the program, and then we down select to a cohort of 7, 8, and then we go through 6 months of really helping them to build a partnership with Amazon. And that might be a JV, it might be licensing, it might be a direct investment, who knows, but we help them to get along that path way faster than they would do otherwise. And then there's the P, which is the perspective piece. So we find that some of our corporates, many of our corporates, really benefit from actually learning what other corporates are doing. So how can we bring together cohorts of corporates to engage with the startup ecosystem. So for example, we run a program called Carbon to Value, focused on the carbon tech space. And in that program, we have Shell, Total, L'Oréal, Johnson Matthey, WL Gore, BASF, so very, very different kinds of corporates, some of whom are suppliers, some of whom are customers. And they sit around and we shepherd them through this process where they get to hear each other's perspective on what's happening in the market. And they build partnerships with startups, sometimes two corporates and a startup. So it really helps them, again, to accelerate the process. So that BDP is really critical for how Greentown helps our corporates to navigate the ecosystem. Of course, vice versa. We want to help our startups to build relationships with the corporates, and that means we need to have that perspective on what the corporates are doing. And so one of the things that we always strongly encourage our corporates to do is to be open. Like, what are the challenges you're facing? How can you both have challenges that you've identified, but also be open to technologies that maybe they're not quite where you need them to be today, but if you start to foster a relationship before they are at TRL 7, 8, before they are at that stage, you can actually help shape their journey. So Pierre said in his opening remarks, the right connections at the right time, that doesn't just happen, off the cuff. That is a lot of hard work into creating that structured serendipity, and that's what we do.
Thank you. At our level, that's what we try to do too, and we totally understand how all of this is hard work. It has to be built. It's one of the paper you wrote, so totally in line with that. Coming back to the low carbon cement, actually, we can discuss because we have a lot of expertise internally, and I'm sure there's a lot of discussion to have on this part. Rim, coming back to the alumni ecosystem of Harvard, because the Harvard lab really engaged with the community of alumni. Of course, scholars from Harvard are in many ways decision maker in the industry. How do you connect with those alumni, and how do they connect with corporates that you surround and that you connect with in your own ecosystem?
Yeah, sure. So in our model, I guess we're probably different from what Greentown Lab would do. For us, is like everything is driven and centered around our founders or our students. So every year we look at who is in our student iLab, 3,000 of them, who is in our accelerator, etc. What do they need? And we go and try to find the people they need. We add them to our expert network. We invite them to our demo days. When we do ecosystem events or any events of sorts, we try to curate basically who's going to be there and who do we connect them with. So an example of that, and some of your colleagues actually here in the room were part of it, that was initiated last year, was a Built World event, ecosystem event that Philip actually from NLA, he's one of our alumni, founder and accelerator, he came and said, he gets double mention today, right? He came and say, hey, Reem, would love to have a Built World event to bring like ecosystem players from the corporate world, from the VC sector, etc., and engage other startups in our ecosystem, through these curated experiences. And so, yeah, we organized that. It was an amazing event, and we love that your team participated also. It was a great opportunity. I know there were conversations with some of startups that are still continuing with your teams, and that's like one example of how we engage. So we don't do formal like corporate partnerships of sorts at the moment, at least, but it's really we curate either one-on-one or an event or through the demo days. Now, as you can imagine, many of our alums are actually working in corporate world. So for us, they act as a bridge. They all come back to our ecosystem, either as a mentor, expert, etc., and they're, we take advantage of their expertise, their connections, etc., to make them available to our student and alumni founders. Oftentimes for students, it's really to gain real-world skills, to understand how industries work, etc. For our founders who are much more advanced in acceleration, etc., like Anlay and other teams, for them, they're trying to secure whatever, a pilot, their first customer, their follow-on, etc., or investment from corporate VCs. So the more opportunities we create with them within the time they are part of the iLab informal kind of acceleration program, the better for them, obviously. But also, once they graduate from our programs, they actually never leave, really. They stay within the ecosystem, and at any time they can give us a call, send an email, say, hey, Reem, we need this and that. Can you see like how we can connect to the right opportunities? And we're always trying to customize the support as much as we can. Obviously, it's hard to do it with 3,000, but definitely on the acceleration side, totally manageable, yeah.
Thank you. Again, we are very much aligned with that. We say as a joke, once in Leonard, forever in Leonard. So
Exactly.
it's kind of a big family that we kind of animate all year long.
And by the way, just as a comparison, you mentioned Leonard is made of 4,500 companies. more or
VINCI,
less.
the VINCI Group, and we are here to
VINCI,
activate the
Yeah.
VINCI Group as
Yeah.
much as possible. You're right,
Yeah.
and it is an ecosystem in itself, the
Exactly.
VINCI Group. So that's why Leonard is here to actually navigate the group and make sure that
Yeah.
we make the right people talk to the right
Exactly.
person. And basically, we are making entrepreneurs talk together, because it's internal entrepreneurs talking to external entrepreneurs or intrapreneurs. So employees from VINCI actually building a new venture, and again, talking to skilled entrepreneurs is a way to help them accelerate. So it's really, that's why it's kind of coherent
Yeah.
with your own experience, of course, at another level. But very humbly, we are totally aligned, of course, with that principle of putting energy and skills in the way to create the conditions. So that's what you will see afterwards, and I hope this day will create a lot of connections for the people in the room today.
I just
So-
wanted to share a comparison.
Yes.
So we have like 7,000 ventures that came out of the iLab in the last 15 years. So these are now much more advanced, and they're coming back also as ecosystem. So
They
apart
raised
from
9 billion, right? In
yeah,
terms of-
raised,
yeah.
collectively 9 billion. So like an example, you guys may be familiar with Whoop, the fitness tracker, I guess. So there was a student iLab founder that the company grow. They are active in the Boston ecosystem. They keep giving back. Right now, actually, I was telling Aisling, they just launched the AI Coalition for Boston just yesterday. And, you know, being part of this conversation is important, and seeing our alumni, you know, shaping them is very important for us to continue to support as well. So almost like our ecosystem helps other ecosystems as well, and it's kind of a ripple effect.
It's contagious.
And yeah, so bridging, which was the CEO was saying, is the most important thing, right? So continuing to bridge. Yeah.
Thank you for the transition, because the last part of our discussion is really around a practical example. If we come back to you, Elena, can you guide us through? There have been some issues like Northvolt and stuff, so innovation is not an easy path. But can you guide us through a success story? Like let's say Vercor, for example. How do you create a company like that from nothing almost to one of the potential future important player in the industry?
Yes, Norval was not the famous case, but the success case. But we have many successful cases, and Vercor is one of it. I mean, this is indeed was originated in InnoEnergy thanks to the experience that we have with starting with Norval. And what we did was exactly to start with a business plan, creating a team internally that they were our intrapreneurs in a mission, so for a while, till one of those was the current CEO of Vercor. And then we helped to create a team, attracting people, especially that they were working in Asian companies, European, working in Asian companies, in order to bring that knowledge to Europe. The thing is that also we have created, at the very first beginning, a cap table of strategics around Vercor. And that is why, for instance, Schneider Electric is part of this cap table, or Capgemini. These are shareholders of InnoEnergy, and we invited them because we knew that they were interested for them, for their business, in this kind of initiatives in terms of the battery system. So afterwards, what we have been doing, especially with Vercor, has been to help them in order to move at the same time in parallel with the opportunities that the regulation was being created. And also, for instance, we have also educational programs with our universities, 13 universities in Europe, and many many of the people that now is working in Vercor are coming from our graduates. So this is something that in order to create the teams, because you know that the bottleneck of this industry is not the raw material at this moment.
It's HR.
Yes, it's the talent. So this is something that we are providing. And indeed, we have in InnoEnergy an institute that it is helping the companies to provide talent, no courses. People already trained, already talented, in order to be working in the factories mainly, in the part of the industrialization that it is where we have the challenge. Let me go to another case, because Vercor is more on batteries and we have been talking a lot. Skeleton, that we were talking before, is an Estonian company that knocked at our door in the year 2013. They are specialized in the ultracapacitors. The ultracapacitors, for the ones that you are not familiar, I say that it is the Usain Bolt of the batteries, okay? So they were a group of in Estonian in a lab, and they have devoted and patented a kind of material of curved graphene. And they came to us and say, fantastic, so what do you know? Money. Okay, yes, but that is the easy question. But what else do you need? And then we started working with them, and that is the way that to prepare a kind of roadmap with added value services that InnoEnergy was going to provide to them. So one of the things that they said, hey, we need help in the second and the third generation of our product. So don't worry, we have a group of research centers all distributed in Europe. We are going to find the one who knows more about this topic. And then we bring it to them. Now, yeah, I need customers, and they don't believe us. Say, normal, you are a startup, okay, big corporates, how they are going to believe you? So we managed with them and with our whole team, and here it is Romain, part of this, the business development team in InnoEnergy, to identify customers and to give the credentials so that they can have the trust. I remember a conversation with Volvo Trucks, and they say, no, InnoEnergy, but what do you think about these ones? Okay, and we say, no, it is a good startup, they have this, they are still in this phase of growing. So we at the very first beginning, which is the most complicated part, we were able to close 100 million contracts for a skeleton. And then, for instance, one of those contracts, one of those customers was Siemens, which is part of our ecosystem. And this, it was interesting because Siemens was at the very first beginning a customer, and suddenly also became a shareholder. So, you know, this is kind of the interactions. We have helped them to raise funds, because we have invested in this company a two-digit million figure, but in InnoEnergy, we are just a flea in all this scenario. So we have mobilized, we have a VC network of more than 280 VCs distributed in Europe, Asia, and US, and we have been able to mobilize private capital for this company. And not only that, but public one. For instance, Skeleton has been one of the companies that have been awarded with the Innovation Fund some months ago. So because we really tried to create a funding strategy mixing the public and the private one, because in these kind of companies, otherwise you cannot do it. So all this kind of, it's not just the money, it's all the value added that we do. These people together, I mean, in these people, 200 people that we work on InnoEnergy, together with the network and the corporates that work with us.
It's great examples on how to actually bring energy together.
Just to finalize, why it is a success? Because this group of Estonian, led by Tavi, that at the very beginning they were in a garage. I mean, just 1 month ago, they opened the third manufacturing facility in Leipzig. And these are one of the major players today in ultracapacitors in Europe. So.
Congratulations. That's very impressive. Aisling, can you share some success stories on Greentown Labs ventures, even though you're not creating ventures as Inno does, but still, how do you create the condition for success in your own ecosystem?
Yeah, so I think maybe I'll play on that theme that I talked about earlier with breadth and depth. So one of Greentown's most well-known startups is called Form Energy, ion air long duration energy storage company, based at Greentown from 2017 onwards. So they joined Greentown, 5 people, and just to put it in perspective, fast forward to today, And there are over 1,000 people working at Form. They've raised over $1 billion in capital. And they joined us, and actually just a little bit about the origin story of Form, and this plays a little bit to what you were saying, Elena, around seeing gaps in the market and creating technologies to fill that, whether it's current or future gap. Form wasn't a technology that was created looking for a home. They actually sat down in a room and said, where do we see the market going? What are the needs going to be? What should we be creating in order to try and fill a future gap? And so that's actually how Form came to be created. But they came to Greentown and they took advantage of everything that we had to offer. They had space in our prototyping lab. They had benches in our wet lab. They used our investor network to raise capital, and even though they've graduated, they still do. GE Vernova, for example, was part of their most recent round, a partner of ours. And so they did that whilst also not having to worry about some of the things that are just a pain in the butt to worry about. Who is going to make sure that they have the power supply that they need? Who is taking care of the waste? And so these are the kind of things that can really slow a startup down and cause a headache. We mentioned talent earlier. How do they find the right people? I mean, when you think about the folks that come through our doors, and by the way, we have 15,000 people that come through Greentown every year. They're building connections with these folks because we're always trying to introduce them to who is going to be the next investor, who's going to be the partner, who are you going to hire to be your head of R&D, so on and so forth. So they took advantage of everything that Greentown had to offer, and I always find it quite funny because when you come to visit Greentown, you'll step out of our building and right across the alleyway is Form Energy, because when they graduated, they didn't go far. They literally just hopped across the street. But another story, I think that's a good example, more on the sort of depth side of programming that we offer, is American Battery Technology Company. So they're a closed-loop lithium-ion battery recycling company that applied to one of those 12-month accelerator programs that I mentioned earlier. So it was actually BASF who was sponsoring this program, and American Battery Technology made it into the program and commenced a 6-month accelerator with BASF in order to really build that partnership. It's gone on to be a huge success. They have closed over $300 million in federal grant money and have commercialized. So we're trying to give startups both the freedom to engage with Greentown how they want, but also dive deep when they need and offer them really specific support in areas that they might need to.
Thanks very much to share some of the success stories. Rim, we've talked a lot about energy. We're in 2006, almost mid-January. Haven't talked about AI yet. So maybe can you give us, out of the academics perspective, what is the next wave of AI? What do you see the AI use cases, the next AI use cases out of the Harvard lens?
How can we not talk about AI? Huh? It's everywhere. I think most of our companies are using or adopting AI in one shape or another, including those in biotech working on drug discovery, etc. So we see it really everywhere for different reasons. Ourselves at the Harvard Innovation Lab and Harvard Business School, we started using a platform called HBS Foundry, which is a way to support entrepreneurs through AI avatars who are professors, and the tool is really building on years and years of their teaching and their research, etc., to be able to support founders a large number at scale, basically. So that's just an example also of how we are adopting AI in our own operations. But maybe I'll give 2 examples. I mean, I'll focus on the built world because we have 2 companies in our Launch Lab X accelerators that use AI. One of them is called Sea Air. It's basically a tool that help homeowners decarbonize their homes. And it's on a phone. You can scan your home and literally do an energy audit of your home in very, very short time. And what it does also is that it makes recommendations about how you can do retrofits to your home and link it to government incentives that help you do it almost for free, because these incentives encourage doing that. On top of that, they connect you to the tradespeople who can implement the work as well. So like a full solution. It's one of the kind of certified provider in Massachusetts to help homeowners. It's grown really significantly. So this is a team of founders from the Graduate School of Design and Public Health who are thinking about how do we shape our built environment into healthier, decarbonized, etc. And they built on their skills and research they've done over years at Harvard and brought it to market in a form of a startup. How we help them, obviously through the accelerator, through the Built World event that we did last year, and they were there present. Our demo day is asynchronous, and we have about 1,000 funders of all sorts, angels, VCs, and CVCs. So that's a great exposure for them as well. So that's an example. And the second one, these guys are using computer vision and other types of AI, obviously, for their solutions. But the second company that I would like to mention is called Vocadian. They were in our accelerator last year. And basically what they use is voice AI on things like construction sites to detect fatigue of workers in like 30 seconds. So that, decision makers on construction site can really help kind of reshape their workforce, et cetera, in a way to avoid incidents on site, et cetera. This is an MIT Harvard team. The research was really done for many years across universities. And they, again, developed a tool that is very practical and can be used in multiple industries. Think mining, construction, anything that has aspects of workers in maybe slightly dangerous conditions. So that's another example of what we see.
Very keen for the introduction. It may be a seed next year.
Yeah, actually we've introduced them in that Built World, and I think they are in conversation with your team. I was actually texting the founder earlier. I was like, are you doing anything with VINCI?
Not yet, but soon.
Are we talking to them? So yeah, so that just kind of give you two examples, but all sorts, honestly, like generative AI, LLMs, optimizing data centers and other things like so it's really wide-ranging.
Thank you very much. We've reached the end of our timing. Thank you. I think we can applaud our panelists, please.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll switch to the presentation of the programs before actually engaging with the audience in the rest of the afternoon. Thank you again very much for your precious contribution and the many synergies we foresee in the years to come. So now I will invite every program manager of Leonard. Their mission, if they accept it, is to present to you in less than 10 minutes the cohort, for you to have an idea of what you will meet right after. So take notes. Please note the names of the companies and entrepreneurs and internal projects that you do want to meet. It's the moment to do so. So we will start with the seed program and Antoine, and I'm happy to give you the mic, Antoine.
Thank you, Kevin. Welcome to Leonard. My name is Antoine Larousse, and I'm in charge of the SEED program. So a quick reminder of what is a SEED program. That's the startup incubation program that helps promising startups from post-prototype to pre-Series A in construction, energies, infrastructures, and real estate sectors to help them to improve their product market fit, so to be sure that they will meet the demand of our VINCI entities for operational solutions, to accelerate their go-to-market, to maximize the business opportunities with our entities, and also to build a strategic network with VINCI and investors. So just some key figures. We have 42 startups in our portfolio. They have made more than 10 million euros of business volume with VINCI Group. They have meet more than thousands of VINCI employees since they joined the SEED program. They have signed more than 500 contracts with these VINCI entities, and they have raised a bit more than 70 million euros, 47 in equity and 23 million in non-dilutive financing. And just some key figures of the last cohort. We got 6 startups in 2025. They have already signed 10 contracts with our VINCI companies. Only was one of the top players last year. They have met 164 business unit manager of VINCI group, and they have raised a bit more than 6 million euros in equity. To talk about the selection of this 2026 cohort, we have received a bit more than 200 applications, and 151 were really in synergies with VINCI businesses. We selected 46 of them, and we got evaluations from VINCI experts, so more than 130 VINCI managers and business unit managers from 86 BUs. And from this evaluation, we got a final jury with 14 startups. The jury we got VCs, CVCs, and VINCI big directors to get the insights and point of view on these startups. And now the winner are... So I'm very proud to have these 9 startups this year joining SEED program. In these specific trends that we heard a lot of it, so we have Neuronext and Outrevol for physical AI. We have Phoenix Energy, Capture, and Propylane for industry decarbonation. We have for EV charging, Up and Charge, and Sostratus Energy. We got Sharing Worker for safety and Horizons for AI for operations. I will not explain and present all the value proposition of this startup. I will invite you to meet all the co-founders after the conference. But just some key figures on this cohort. We got 73% of favorable responses received from these VINCI people. We have 3 countries represented with the startups, France, UK, and Australia. I'm proud to have 1/3 of this startup that they have a woman as a co-founder or in their management team. And also, good thing, 9 over 9 startups are already in contact with VINCI entities or already signed a contract with our business unit. So that's the main thing. So welcome to SEED program, these startups, and for the audience, I invite you to meet them together in 40 minutes maximum. And now, time for Catalyst program.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Corentin Caniego, and I'm the head of the Catalyst program. Firstly, thank you, everyone, for being here, both in person and online. And before jumping into the selection, I really wanted to remind you what's the Catalyst program ambitions. So, the Catalyst program is designed to select validated and mature solutions for 3 main reasons. The first one is solving operational challenges through the whole industry of VINCI groups. To do so, the second point is that we are building and leveraging an international network of within VINCI Group, because we truly think success shouldn't stay local, and what works in one place must be shared, and why not deployed globally. And also, as someone who was part of VINCI Construction before, I know our business is about people, so for us it's really important to have this peer-to-peer validation, because I truly think that we should learn together and grow together. That's something that I really stand for, so trying to learn together through this program and trying to learn from the collaboration. Looking at the past now, here are some metrics. So the Catalyst program has accelerated more than 62 solutions since 2020. It's more than 1,500 relation between VINCI Group's employees and the startups every year. I'm super proud to say the selection of this program is really international, with 65% of the solutions that are out of France. And for VINCI Group, who is like a global group, it's super important that the innovation should do the same. And at the end of the day, they generated more than 38 million of revenue between the VINCI business units and the Catalyst solution, so proving the traction with the work sites, and also proving the traction with the global industry and the financial players, because they raise more than 1 billion euros globally. To do so, we have like also pipeline of selection, a really narrow one, because we are surrounded by more than 1,000 solutions every year, thanks to all the innovation ecosystem that Leonard is taking part of. And we are really focusing on 300 of the solution to make sure they have synergy with VINCI's industry. And then we go down to a top 24 for this year, because we want to make sure all the solutions that we are proposing are mature enough to be deployed globally within VINCI Group. And here is the most important part of the selection. You really help us to select those finalists, and I really wanted to thank you all for being part of the journey. This year we had more than 150 evaluators. You are the experts, so thank you for helping us selecting the great solution that are answering a need that we already have within the group. And then the top 9. So that's what the top 24 is looking like. Next slide, please. Thank you. So I won't spend that much time on that slide because I've been teasing you the top 9. So we can jump into the top 9 right after people took the pictures in a minute. And there we go. So the top 9. Really happy to have a really international cohort this year, more than 78% international. So happy to push the limit and trying to be more international as possible. As Antoine said, trends around physical AI, of course, this year, and super proud to have Field AI, who just raised 400 million. They are a star in the industry. They're trying to, they're pushing AI to the job sites thanks to physical components. Gravis Robotic is doing the same with autonomous engines, and Birdview help us to see through the concrete, see the rebars, how they are. So happy to see those physical components on our work sites. Once again, we talk a lot about Only, but super happy to help them to deploy this year with VINCI Group. So exciting journey with them for sure. And how being part of VINCI and not talking about safety and security. So super happy to have Akiraya and Site Assist this year to try to make our works site even safer. Talking about Contech, but more broadly contracting, we have 2 solutions, Moser and Coldpad. So a lot of use cases within the group and also with a VINCI concession for sure. And finally, how being on stage today is without talking about flexibility and energy storage. And that's what energy is tackled. So yeah, super happy of the 78% international, but at the same time it means that they've traveled to come here. There will be the next 2 hours in the room, so don't hesitate to spend 5 minutes of your time talking with them. You're the experts, I know the solution, they're super cool, and I think they deserve a round of applause. Yeah, and that's it for me. I leave the stage to my colleague Anissa. Thank you all.
Hi, good afternoon. It's nice and lovely to see you all, that amphitheater full of people. I hope that is not too hot for you. I will try to be short and give you some insight about the Intrapreneur program. So we have spoke about open innovation programs. Now we are going in the family home, and we will speak about the internal initiative. I'm Anissa Abassary. I'm in charge of the Intrapreneur program, and I will give you some insight about the new cohort, the 10th cohort, so almost 10 years of Intrapreneur here at VINCI. What is important to keep in mind is that entrepreneurship is a part of VINCI DNA. It's not something new, it's something that you will find in every 4,200 business units that we have at VINCI. And I'm really proud to support the internal initiative of my colleagues. And I also would like to welcome the 10th cohort of VINCI Intrapreneur. So to give you some information about that cohort, we will speak about several thematics. The first one will be about decarbonization and building. The second one will be about construction site. We have, of course, environmental topic, which is important for the group. Thanks to my colleague with the AI program, we will speak about AI and data, and last but not least, the new processes. Just to give you, I'm not sure that it's correctly working, actually. No. I mean, I must be the first one to have the technical issue. It's always happening in the afternoon, so it's way too brief. I don't understand why the slides are not going in the right way. If you have questions, it's maybe the time to have a little chat. No? Oui, it must. So since 10 years, we have inspiring project here within VINCI, because we have filled 10th cohorts yet. We had around 40 applications for the 10th cohort. 29 were completed. 10 international applications, and I'm glad to support 11 projects. This year is coming from VINCI Energy, VINCI Construction, and VINCI Concession. I already give you the topics, which is the next slide, so I will go to the slide after. It's a kind of an improvisation here, my apologies. Okay, you have seen this one. So, 10 years of Intrapreneurship, what does that mean? That means 100 projects supporting since 2000, and maybe we have a ghost inside the screen and it's moving by themselves, but I will keep going. So it's about 100 projects supported, which is a real success of the program is that 2/3 of the project are still a part of VINCI. That means that most of the projects that we have supported so far are still existing within the group. If we have a small focus on the entities of the group that are a part of the program, most of them are coming from VINCI Construction. I would like to thank very much the sponsor that I can see here, Florence, Gilles, for the project that you have sent. We have then project coming from VINCI Energy. I'm seeing Olivier, thank you for your trust and the project that you have sending to us too. And VINCI Concession, Alice, next to Olivier, is also a great example of the sponsorship that we have. Why this program is a success? It's also because of the sponsor that I have mentioned. Hi, Gilles, I forget you, sorry. It's also about the sponsor that I support. Each project will get an internal sponsor that will help him through his journey in the program. And obviously, we have a methodology and a structure. We are supporting all maturity of project, from a prototype to an industrialization phase. To do so, the project owner will work 1 day per week during 6 months, and it's the exploration phase. The goal of the exploration phase, it's in the name, it's to explore and adapt the solution to the market. People are coming with an idea and they are going out with a tangible solution linked to real and concrete world problematics. And this is what we are doing during that phase. The beginning of this phase is the launch day. This is why we are here today. And then they will go through the demo day, and they will then pass to the acceleration phase. The acceleration phase, the goal is to accelerate the sales of the solution of the project. So we are training our beloved VINCI engineers to make them a little bit more salesmen. Because as you know, we are an engineers group. Enough speaking of me, it's interesting for me to share with you some testimony of the intrapreneurs. And I'm the first one on the page.
L'objectif du parcours entrepreneur est d'accompagner les solutions et les projets des entreprises du groupe VINCI à se développer grâce à un accompagnement sur mesure.
C'est une magnifique opportunité de mettre en lumière nos projets, de les développer, d'être accompagnés.
Et pour passer de une solution qui marche à la meilleure solution d'un point de vue environnemental et économique, il faut vraiment des moyens pour passer du temps sur le projet, améliorer le pilote, avoir un produit prêt à être commercialisé et totalement maîtrisé.
Someone in VINCI has seen an interest in it and we'll see how it goes, if it probably can synergize and scale in VINCI.
Et cette année, nous avons pu accompagner une dizaine de projets qui ont eu des résultats concrets, notamment la génération de chiffre d'affaires.
Le résultat concret, c'est d'avoir une équipe vraiment dédiée à notre solution qui est en train de développer commercialement le projet, en train de faire connaître notre solution un peu partout en France. Mais c'est une solution déjà qui fait du chiffre d'affaires, qui fonctionne et qui, grâce à l'entrepreneuriat, est en train de se développer fortement cette année.
Ça fait maintenant 6 mois qu'on a intégré le parcours d'intrapreneur pour valoriser la thalassothermie en zone portuaire. Et grâce à ce parcours, on a vraiment changé le prisme par lequel on aborde cette problématique. En résultat concret, on peut considérer qu'on est donc à même d'accompagner les entreprises de terrain, les acteurs de terrain de VINCI Énergie pour proposer cette solution à leurs clients.
We have finalized our proof of concept and the first Soul project. The program was an accelerator in the way that I got connections throughout the VINCI network. You got a personal coach that helped you through learning to present better, make presentations, make market material, and help me develop the project further.
So why meeting them during the village? Basically, you will be the first step of their journey to the entrepreneur program. Your question will be interesting for them. You will help them to challenge their solution. The first part, of the beginning of the program is to challenge the solution. So please be my guest and be the first to challenge them. They will be there at the village. And I'm glad to leave the floor to my colleague Bruno Daunay. We will speak about AI within VINCI and his project too, I guess. Thank you all.
Hi everybody, it's very impressive to be here and to explain what we do. So I'm Bruno Daunay, I'm managing an AI program here, so my objective is to develop the technology provided that it brings money to the group. And we'll talk about business and a little bit about the technology, you will see, and the methodology that we use to develop impactful projects here within the group. Everything have been said, but I will start again from the beginning. How do we scout for this project? How do we support all these projects? First thing is that at Leonard here, we have a team that can bring support to the business unit. So we have a bunch of data scientists here. We are approximately 20. And our objective is to transfer the skills to the business unit within the organization. It's a kind of difficult job because we have 4,500 business units, so we still have some time ahead of us. Once we bring this support to the business units, it's also really important for everybody to understand what is the technology, because it's because you understand what is the technology that you can maybe sometimes have new ideas. So our objective, again, is here to connect to the 282,000 people from the group to seek for new projects in the future. Again, here, lots of work to do. Last, because it's a new way of working, data science it's kind of a new way to implement projects. We created at the beginning a community. One is now live within VINCI Construction. There are 100 of them. One other is within VINCI Energy. There are 100 of them, etc., etc. Within construction, the same. The objective here is for this new business to be able to talk all together on specific projects or technology. How do we work? You can see that at the beginning, we have a business unit within the group, and at the end, again, the business unit. So here, our objective is to support the business unit, but they will be responsible in the long range for the scale and the development of the project. So once we have an idea at the beginning here in the business unit, our objective is not to directly develop the solution, because I said at the beginning, we want to have impactful project and make money out of this. So to be sure that it's an impactful project, first we have to assess the market. So here, first, work to do, assess the market. So can we turn this idea into a new business unit? Can we turn this idea into a new offer, etc., etc.? So this is the main thing to do first. Do we have a business out of it? Second, we do not have time to do research if we want to go quickly on the market. So is the model already existing in the literature? That is really important. The research, we'll do it after being on the market. Third, do we have a support from the management? Are we able to finance this idea? Are we able to create this new business unit or this new offer? And once we have these three criteria, then we can develop the idea and make an impactful project. So you can see that it's a long discussion with the business unit, because we have to be sure that the business unit is able to support this project. Once we start, it's a 7-month program with the only objective for the business unit to be autonomous in 7 months' time. So here I said we have a bunch of data scientists. The objective is to select someone in the business unit, and this someone will be responsible for the development of the project. And I will detach someone, which is a data scientist, and the two of them will collaborate and co-develop the solution. So that after 7 months' time, I can say bye-bye to the business unit, and they are autonomous, and they can scale within their organization, their country, etc., the projects. So you can see that we need to transfer skills. So we need to have an in-house program, and that is what we created here. We have a very powerful in-house program, and the objective is only to train the people inside the business unit. So we give AI lessons. Of course, we code with the person that are responsible for the development of the project. We give data training, because it's all about understanding the data, what is an outlier, how to clean the data, etc. Of course, we train as well the business unit to upskill in the cyber security. We give business models, and here you can see a close connection to the Intrapreneurship program. So usually we make bridge between this program here, which is about developing the technology in order to do business, with, of course, the Intrapreneurship program, which objective is to do business. And of course, a little bit of regulation, because here it's important in our region here, Europe. We have the AI Act, so we have to understand the stakes of it, not to develop anything. We have a huge training program. It's about 71 theoretical lessons. It's only a theoretical lesson, but once you have the theory, you have to code, you have to develop. So it's twice this amount of hours that is bring to the business unit. More than 250 collaborators have followed this path here. So they became a kind of data scientists since last year, because it's a huge theoretical lesson that they have to master. We certified this program thanks to Telecom Paris. So everyone that enters this program will be certified as an AI engineer after 7 months work with us. So it's kind of an equivalent of a master of data science here. Of course, if we want to be impactful, we connect research with business, and that's why we partner here with an AI cluster, which is called iParis, and it's a gathering of the top highest university and engineering school in France. So our objective here, once we have a problem, a technical problem, we ask a bunch of researchers to solve this with us. We turn it into business, and they turn it into publications. So we have here a matter to collaborate. Of course, it's a way as well to find new students to work on our projects. With the summer school here, it's open to all the data scientists from the group, so they can attend very high level lessons with top researchers, etc., etc. And it's not working anymore because it's not AI. Otherwise, yes. You can understand that when you have all these projects, you must connect business and technical, and technical community. So last year we had this first celebration, which was an AI day. We bring 600 people here in Leonard. The objective was to do business, exactly what we are doing today. We developed at that time 80 solutions, so that was the moment to connect all these solutions with the operationals from the group, so that everybody within their division could pick if they want some solution to sell to their clients. Since 2019, we developed 100 projects. So these are all scaled within the organization at different level. It can be scaled within a business unit, which is enough. It can be scaled at a division or at a pole level. It really depends on the project that we have. And the winner are today projects that, of course, will support our daily work. So we work in energy efficiency, for example, how to better perform in building, in hospitals, for example, in industrial plants. We support design offices because it's one of our main work here to design project. We do lots of conceptions, so we have to support these design offices. Of course, we try to better work on safety because it's a priority from the group. So in New Zealand, they are working on that, and the objective is to scale this project in the organization. So you can see that we are international. We support projects in 15 countries this year. And of course, we try to improve our productivity on site because it's one way to earn more money. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have questions, of course, I'm here.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you very much to all. Now is the time for you to actually meet the winners, because it's great on the slide, it's better in person, and it will be the time for connection. So don't hesitate to move, have a fresh drink and great discussions all together, and we'll join afterwards. Thank you all for our presentation, and thank for the program managers also. Thank you.